Do you find that you got so much to study and just not enough time? Many students complain to me. They say, just before the exam, I've got 8 subjects, and each subject I've got 20 chapters. That's 160 chapters. How am I supposed to finish? Well, here's the thing. Not only are you supposed to finish all the chapters before the exam, but to do well, you got to revise it at least 5 to 7 times. What? 5 to 7 times? Most students will say, I can't even go through it 1 time. So how's it possible? The answer is very simple. Now, if I could tell you a way on how to reduce your study material by 80%, let me repeat that. Reduce your study material by 80% and still understand everything, get all the information and score an A1, would you be interested? You may say, of course I'm interested. Now, if you can do that, do you know what this means? It means before the exam, if your friend has to read, for example, 100 pages of a certain book, you just have to read 20 pages. If your friend has to read 20 pages in a chapter, you just read 4 pages and you score an A1. Now, you may say, how is that possible? The answer is very simple. You see, when you study from a textbook or your teacher's notes, not all the words are important. In fact, only 20% of the words are important. So we're going to learn this right now in what we call the Pareto principle. So if you look at this whiteboard right here, let me draw a little diagram for you. If you look at, again, imagine this would be a textbook or your teacher's notes. Out of 100% of the words, only 20% of the words are important. And we call this the keywords. Keywords are the words in the text or in the teacher's notes that give you 100% of the meaning. That's right, 100% just from 20% of the keywords. And normally keywords are words like nouns, verbs, adverbs, and adjectives. Now you may say, how about the other 80%? Well, the other 80% of words are what we call non-keywords. These are the words that are the majority of any words in a textbook. But you know what? All these 80% of the words, they contain 0% of the meaning. It has got no meaning whatsoever. It doesn't add any value to you understanding the text. And these are normally words which we call them connecting words. They connect the keywords together. Right? So, now when you first read a textbook or first read a chapter, must you read all the words? Of course you have to understand it. But the moment you read it one time and you got the understanding, and later on you just want to remember and recall the facts, you don't have to go through all the words. You just go through 20%. So what we're going to learn today is this. We're going to learn how to read through a textbook and get a 20% of keywords here. Once we get 20%, we can throw the 80% away. And if you do that, guess what? You just reduce your study material by 80%. You increase your speed of learning by 5 times. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean and how we can condense information this way. Alright, to illustrate the point, let's look at this passage on the brain. Let me read it out to you. It says, for some time, it has been known that the human brain can be divided into 2 parts, the left brain and the right brain. It has also been known that the left brain controls the right side of the body and that the right brain controls the left side of the body. As I'm reading this to you, you can understand it, right? Why? Because it contains all the keywords and non-keywords. It forms sentences. It has also been known that the left brain controls the right side of the body and that the right brain controls the left side of the body. It has also been discovered that when the left brain is damaged, it will cause the right side of the body to become paralyzed. Similarly, if the right brain is damaged, it will cause the left side of the body to become paralyzed. In other words, damage to one side of the brain will cause the corresponding side of the body to become paralyzed. Now, by reading this entire passage, it took us about 116 words, but you understand what it's talking about. But again, let me ask you this question. Are all the words relevant? Are all the words important for you to understand what's really going on? The answer is no. So let's go through this passage one more time, but this time, I'm going to point out the keywords to you. Alright? Okay, now let's look at what the keywords are all about. So it says, for some time it has been known that the. Now, is this important? Must you really know this? No, right? So what are the first keywords? The first keywords here are human brain, divided, 2 parts, the left brain and the right brain. Now, it's obvious we're talking about the brain, so we just have to put down left, right. It has also been known that the left brain. Now, the sentence, it has also been known that the. Is that really important? Again, that's irrelevant. So what's important is left brain controls right side body. Right brain controls left side body. Does it make sense? Alright, let's continue. Next, the next sentence says, it has also been discovered that. Again, that's not really relevant. It's just a way to open up the sentence. But what's really important is this. It says, left brain damage cause right side body paralyzed. Now the next sentence is, similarly, if the right brain is damaged, it will cause the left side of the body to become paralyzed. Now we could replace this entire statement by using the word, or using the words vice versa, which means the opposite. Now if you look at this whole part here, it says, in other words, damage to one side of the brain will cause the corresponding side of the body to become paralyzed. Again, it's repeating the same thing. It's just a summary. It's irrelevant, so you can leave it out. So by doing this, let's go on to the next slide. In the next slide, I've just picked out the keywords in this entire passage. Now, let me just read out the keywords to you and honestly ask yourself, do you still understand what the passage is saying to you? Are you ready? It says this, human brain divided two parts, left, right. Do you understand that? Of course you do, right? Next, left brain controls right side body. Right brain controls left side. Do you understand that? Yeah, you sure do. Next, it says left brain damage cause right side body paralyzed. Vice versa. That's all you need to know, right? You got all the information. Nothing was lost. All the meanings there. 100% of the meanings there. But how many words are there right now? There are only 28 words. Now, 116 words, guess what? It's about 20%. Right? About 24% to be exact. Now, let's look at the rest of the words. On the next slide, these are the non-keywords that we've been reading out the first time. Let me read it out to you right now and see how much of the meaning do you get from the passage. Now, these are non-keywords. It says, the is into the brain and the brain. It has also been known that the of the and the of the to body. It has also been discovered that when the is, will the of the to become. Similarly, if the is, it will the of the to become. In other words, damage to one side of the will cause the corresponding side of the to become. Alright? Now, how much of that do you understand? The answer is absolutely nothing. You understood nothing, at zero meaning. But you know what? It took out 70 plus words in the entire passage. So what does this mean? This means that every time you read a textbook, every time you revise from your teacher's notes, you are wasting 80% of your time reading rubbish that has got no meaning to the passage whatsoever. Now, at this point of time, let me ask you, from 116 words, we managed to condense it down to just about 20 words, right? But from 20 words, are we able to condense it down to maybe probably even less than 10 words and still contain all the meaning, all the essence of the text? Is that possible? The answer is yes. And the answer is by using diagrams and symbols. Now let me give you an example right here. Now I memorized the passage by heart. So if you don't memorize the passage, you can refer to your notes as I'm speaking to you about passage, right? Now in the passage, it begins by saying, it has been known that the human brain can be divided into two parts. Left brain, right brain. Remember that? Now, we could put it into a diagram. So for example, I could draw something to represent the brain. Now again, when you make notes, your notes don't have to be really beautiful. As long as you understand it, it's fine. So what is this? This is human brain. And it's divided. Now for the word divided, I can just use a symbol, divided, into two parts. And then I draw the two parts. Left, right. Got it? So, what I'm drawing right here refers to the first part of the passage. Now, what does the next part of the passage say? It says that the left brain controls the right side of the body, and the right brain controls the left side of the body. So, again, we can explain it through a diagram. So, what we could do is, we could draw this guy here, with his two brains. We draw his body, right? Now again, I'm no artist, so you don't have to look nice. It's just as long as you understand what I'm talking about and what you are talking about. So it says, the left brain controls the right side of the body. So we just draw an arrow here, and we write down the word controls. Right body. At the same time, the right brain controls the left side of the body. See that? Okay, what does the last part say? The last part says that when the left brain is damaged, it will cause the right side of the body to become paralyzed, right? So, same thing on here. I will use a symbol to represent damage. Alright? And I'll write down the word damage. So when the left brain is damaged, it will cause the right side of the body to become paralyzed. So what could I draw to remind me of that? I could draw, for example, he's in a cast, or his whole hand is paralyzed, and I write down the word paralyzed. And then we say vice versa. If this side is damaged, the same thing would happen. Now, what have I just done? I've just taken the entire passage of 116 words and I've condensed it into a diagram. And this is what we call a Pareto diagram. So in this diagram, how many words do we have? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 words. From 116 words, we went on to 24 words. From 24 words, we went on to 11 words. That's all. Now, let me ask you this question. If you were to compare studying this diagram from that passage of 116 words, which one is easier? Of course, it's diagram. Why? Because number one, it's got less words, so it saves you time. The other thing is this. When you look at a diagram like this, which side of the brain does it use? Remember in the last session, we said that if you want to boost your learning, you've got to use both sides of your brain. When you study from purely the passage, you're only using your left brain. But using a Pareto diagram, guess what? It uses pictures, it's got colors, uses your imagination, uses your creativity. So it's actually using both sides of your brain. So it actually helps you to recall. So what do I mean? Once you have a passage, you condense it into keywords, you put it into a diagram. Now, before the exam, you study the diagram. You memorize the entire diagram, kind of like a painting in your mind. And you have this image in your mind. So when you actually go to the exam, what happens? You remember this painting, you remember this image. And from the image, you recreate the entire set of key points using your own English. For example, if I go into the exam, and I recall this whole diagram, I'll remember the human brain is divided into two parts, the left brain and the right brain, right? The left brain controls the right side of the body, and the right brain controls the left side of the body. Got it? If the left brain is damaged, it will cause the corresponding side of the body to become paralyzed. If the right brain is damaged, correspondingly, it will cause the left side of the body to become paralyzed. See, I got all the points and I get full marks for that. So that's the power of condensing information.